First things first, new podcast in the description. My reaction to the Cavaliers beating the Raptors, and then I try to make sense of all this Modern Warfare 2 remastered news and whether it'll have multiplayer or not. This really is the NBA season from hell, man. How many injuries have we had up to this point? It's too damn many, I'll say that much. Star players, role players, all that. And now we have two more. We have Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry. I'm mainly going to talk about Steph Curry in this video because I think a lot of people would say that a healthy Golden State team is still the best team in the NBA, and that team would beat the Houston Rockets in a 7-game series. But I'm pretty sure no one thinks that a 50% Steph Curry or even no Steph Curry, I don't think anybody thinks that team could beat the Rockets, you know? So, let's talk about this. Now, Curry has had lower body injuries like all season at this point, to the point now where I'm a little concerned that this might be a trend. He was able to get away from his ankle problems, and I understand this is not an ankle, but lower body injuries seem to always have some connecting thing with them. But, you know, he had that ankle thing for a while, and he was able to fix it through, I don't know, shoes, accessories all along his ankles, getting everything just as tight as you possibly can, whatever other products you use as an NBA player. He was able to get it under control for a few seasons, and we know what's been going on the past couple years with him and the Warriors. But this season, it just seems like the moment Curry gets any momentum going, he rolls an ankle. And now we have this here. And if we're looking at the timetable of this thing, they're saying that Curry will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. Which makes sense because typically a grade 2 MCL injury can take from somewhere between like 4 to 6 weeks. Which I think you can say is probably good news for Golden State. And it's looking like now we could see him back, let's say, middle of the first round, maybe even late first round if the Warriors got pushed to a Game 6 or, God forbid, a Game 7, which is kind of similar, I think, to when he came back against the Blazers. I believe that was during the 73 win year, and then he just went nuts in Portland, but then that injury ended up catching up with him, mainly in the NBA Finals against the Cavaliers. So now we might as well just get to the Houston Rockets, because I assume even if they don't have Curry, if they have everybody else, the Warriors should be able to beat anybody in the Western Conference. Unless Kawhi Leonard came back and was immediately himself for the Spurs, but that's probably not going to happen. So let's just do Warriors-Rockets right now. Can a 70% Steph Curry and the Warriors beat these Houston Rockets? Probably not, honestly, because a 70% Curry is probably not that good of a defensive player. Like, yeah, he's smart and he knows assignments and all that, but if you don't have the ability to change direction and all that stuff, then you're going to get killed, right? And I would think that the Rockets would probably run screens. I would think that Curry would defend like Trevor Ariza, okay? Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, those are the guys he'd typically be on. You can have Harden and Chris Paul run screens for those guys, and I know Curry did a really good job of hedging against the Cavaliers in the previous finals to stop himself from getting switched onto LeBron. But if you have a guy who's hurt because of his lower body stuff and he's not able to move as well, because, you know, when you hedge correctly, you have to step out like pretty damn hard to stop the guy's momentum, and then you got to come back to your guy. You can't really do that if your MCL is or your ankle, if they're not going to cooperate, right? Then you're switched onto Harden, you're switched onto Chris Paul, and I mean, I don't really care who you are. If that's just what you have to constantly do in a series, you're going to have a really tough time, you know? Then you look at offense. I mean, a lot of Steph's value as an offensive player is moving without the ball, right? And I think this Houston Rockets team is a team that has a lot of switch potential. I mean, even James Harden can switch just because he's like 6'5". I mean, yeah, you put him in isolations, he's going to get beat, but I mean, just for like the one-off possession, or maybe even a few more than that, where he just has to switch on to Curry to not allow him to get an open three-pointer, you can go from there, you know? But then between Mbah a Moute, PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, Joe Johnson if he comes in, like there's a lot of guys on this team who are at least 6. How tall is Eric Gordon? 6'3", 6'4"? Actually, that doesn't make sense because Chris Paul's like 6'1". Whatever. There's a lot of good defenders on this team is what I'm getting at here. And, I mean, if Curry's not able to be his normal self, moving off the ball and then playing defense, then yes, I think the Houston Rockets would beat these Warriors. Now, I guess I could say with Curry could be out there with one leg, and teams are still going to treat him like he's himself, so his gravity is always going to be there. You know, they're not going to help off of him or whatever. But still, I mean, given that the Warriors really don't have like as much shooting as you think they do when you initially think about them, at least for me, because, you know, outside of Clay, Durant, and Curry, there's like not much actual shooting on this team. So you have Draymond out there, you have Iguodala, Nick Young. I mean, you can gamble on Nick Young, it's fine. Omri Caspi hasn't really played that much this season. They don't play Draymond at center like that often. A lot of the time they do have a conventional 5 out there. That's enough non-shooting to where if you just have 70% or even maybe worse than that Steph Curry out there, I think that's enough of a leeway for a Rockets defense that's already pretty damn good, you know? So, really, it's just going to come down to how healthy Steph is, and we're not really going to know that until it's happening in front of us. Now, is there a chance that they could still win it, even if he is a little worse? I mean, sure, like if Kevin Durant just goes next level, which is totally possible. I mean, if you've got Kevin Durant putting up, I don't know, 33 points a game against Houston, playing 42 minutes a night, and then Curry is still, you know, being himself, well, not himself, but a worse version, but still a very good version of himself. And then Clay is fine, and Draymond is maybe a bit better from 3, because Draymond always seems to figure out the three-point shot when it comes to the playoffs. Then, yeah, that could potentially still be enough. But it'll be scary nonetheless. Now, if we get to the NBA Finals, say if the Warriors manage to get through Houston with this health scare, should they be able to beat, I mean, my pick would still be Cleveland. Yeah, they should be pretty okay there. I mean, Steph Curry was hurt in the year they won the 73 games against the Cavs. And even then, Cleveland won in the last minute of Game 7 with a roster that is better than the roster they have right now, and a Golden State team that was worse than the one is right now. So, yeah, well, in terms of roster, I mean, obviously the Warriors' record was better, but, you know, they didn't have Kevin Durant, so, yeah. Honestly, it just comes down to Houston. Now, if Curry manages to get hurt anymore this season, in terms of like he comes back and then hurts his ankle and he has to sit again, then the Rockets are definitely going to the finals, because if there's no Steph Curry, then I don't think this Warriors team has a chance. I mean, Kevin Durant would have to put up like 40 points a game. It wouldn't have to go that crazy, but he'd have to be pretty damn incredible in a 7-game series against Houston. And honestly, if Curry's not there at all, if you're looking at a second round matchup, nah, they'd probably still win. Never mind. Basically, the Warriors need Curry if they're going to go to the finals again, with how good this Houston Rockets team is. Hopefully he's healthy, and hopefully we just see no more injuries. Also, if you're one of the people who are on Twitter happy that Curry is injured, which I assume you're not, because it seems like the people who watch me have their heads on straight. But if you are one of those people, stop being a moron, okay? Anyway, that's going to do it. And, yeah. And then once again, new podcast, Cavaliers Raptors, Modern Warfare 2, and I'm done.